When choosing a primer, things to consider are, of course, the quality of primer and the type of primer, whether it be a wet-on-wet primer, primer surfacer, or even a primer filler. But what a lot of people don't consider is the color of the primer. And is the color of the primer really that important?
Yes.
A lot of people don't realize this, but grey primer doesn't just come in one shade of grey, nor does it come in 50 shades of grey either. But we're looking at a value shade system today, value shade 1 being white and a value shade 7 being black, and the different shades in between. You would normally use a value shade 1 up here for your yellows and value shade 7 for your blacks up here, or your midnight blues and your different silvers, I guess you would say in here. The reason why you would want to use a value shade system, a lot of it comes down to when you're doing a blend. So you really want to get color accuracy. You also want to get coverage as well. And the Chromax primers do provide that. So if you're using the Chromax primer, it's a really good way of going about it. And you can also add a lot of different additives to this. Things like flexible additives, if you want to do things like bumpers. You can also speed up with an accelerator and play around with different hardeners for doing different primer reasons, I guess you would say. Otherwise, I'll show you what happens when you don't use the right color primer or value shade with the color. We have some clear film that has the yellow painted onto it, and you can see what happens when you use a black primer or dark primer versus the different color primers. That's the color we want, white primer. For this color, when we put it against the car, that's the color we get. And you might suggest, well, the darker colors cover better, but if we take this blue here, you can see that the black primer matches better, whereas the lighter colors, it just doesn't cover. And the final one here, we have this color here that's been applied over a white primer, a grey primer, and a black primer, and you would say that's 3 different colors, and you would be right, but it's the primer color that's actually changed the color to achieve 3 different colors. So yes, putting the right color primer makes a difference. It's very important to choose your color primer when it comes to choose your color at the same time. And which color primer should you use with your color? It's a secret. No, really it's set by a lot of the factories themselves, so the paint manufacturers normally suggest which primer color you should use. So if you're not sure, come in and talk to us, but make sure you do chat to us so we give you the right color primer to go with your color.
Yeah, make sure it's real glossy.